So I'm here with an impromptu guest, a really old friend of mine. Well, he's not really that old. We just know each other a very long time. So this is Brendan Gallagher. He'd best be known for Thoughts of Ruin as a lead singer.
Mm-hmm.
We, however, know each other a lot longer than that.
Yes.
So I wanted to give you a gift to kind of to thank you for coming on. But
Came all the way for this.
Just for the gift. But also because it brings us back to how we know each other.
Gaming
Gaming
is important.
So important. So here you are. Here's
Awesome.
your chocolate console.
Thank you so much. I will eat this.
I know. I've no doubt.
That is awesome.
So when we were teenagers, we were both in bands in town, and the bands then led to this message board before MSN existed.
Mm-hmm.
So we had our own little website called SMDF.
Oh yeah, that's what it was. I was Demon Seed and then I was Omega Dawn. So
I think I was always Becca Chino or Becca Franz.
yes, you were. No, Becca Chino.
Becca Chino.
Yeah. That's where all the cool people hang out, because all the cool people hang out on the internet.
Yeah.
This was before social media.
It was before social media, and we already had a platform because we're all nerdy weirdos that gamed.
Yes, exactly. So SMDF. Oh Jesus. What was the one after that?
I don't remember.
There was another one after that.
And then there was like Bebo.
Yeah, there was MySpace and then Bebo.
And Bebo, and then Facebook.
We are old.
We are old.
Yes.
I still have Facebook. You still have Facebook.
I do,
We still stay in touch.
11 years on Facebook. So.
Same.
Yeah, true.
I have such a cool Gmail address because I was one of the first people to try it. That's exactly. How nerdy we are.
Kids, someday you can be this cool.
Cool like us.
Yes.
So I don't get to see you very much. This is probably the first time I've seen you in 11 years.
Oh yeah, easily. When was the last time we met?
I would have been down to you in Cork a good bit.
So I've been gone 9 years.
Okay.
And then I was in Cork 7 years before that. Was I working in Apple the last time?
Yeah, you were working in Apple.
So then it's probably 11 or 12 years.
Flip. So what are you doing with your life?
Special occasion.
Yeah.
So after I left Ireland, I was relocated. So I was working for a company in Cork.
Okay.
And then I loved Cork, and I still love Cork. For all the Cork viewers, oh, great Cork! You said about Cork, buy something.
Great, I love Cork too.
Cork is great. So I always loved Cork, and I didn't necessarily have any reason to leave, but I always had this feeling there's this big, big, big world out there, and I want to see what's out there, basically. So before I made any long-standing decisions on my life, because I felt like I'd only seen this much.
There was blinkers on.
Exactly. So I said to myself, okay, I'll go out to the world, see what the opportunities. So Apple relocated me to Singapore. So I was working in Apple Singapore. Singapore was, how do I put it? Interesting. It's like golden handcuffs. So you have the comfortable job and the salary and the condo and all of that fucking bullshit that you don't actually need. And that's why it's golden. It
looks nice.
It looks like, that's why it's golden handcuffs. So you're there going, and people keep telling you, oh, you can't leave because you have this, you can't leave this, and I never got a qualification. So they're like fear mongering you, saying like, oh yeah, you might never get. Exactly. You might never get into another opportunity again. And I went, maybe, but I'm not happy. So I did my two and a bit years there, which was my requirement. After that, it was up to me if I wanted to stay. So handed in my notice, and then I went traveling, and I had can I swear?
Yeah.
I had no fucking clue what I wanted to do. So I just went traveling. I went, and so when I flew into Singapore, Apple flew me business class. So I wanted to do literally the complete opposite. So I took a bus from Singapore to Kuala Lumpur.
Okay.
And that was interesting. It's 6 or 7 hours on the bus. And then from Kuala Lumpur, I took a bus to the Thai border. And then I just continued taking buses all the way through Thailand, into Phuket, all the way up to Bangkok, all the way up to Udon Thani, into Nong Khai, up into Laos, Vientiane, up into Luang Prabang, and then all the way around 4,000 Islands, Pak Se, through Cambodia, all the way up to Hanoi, through Vietnam, Saigon, Hanoi, Sapa, which is right up by China, over to Halong Bay and back down again. That is thousands and thousands of kilometers, and I did it all on buses and trains, mostly buses because I liked it more. And then I went over to the Philippines. And so I volunteered in the Philippines. And the reason I volunteered in the Philippines was, number one, the place had been decimated by the typhoon. We went there and we rebuilt homes, deconstruction and reconstruction. But I remembered when I first got my job in Ireland with Apple, I cycled 16 kilometers every day to go there and back, up Shandon Hill in Cork, which is like that, basically. It's fucking ridiculous.
Bigger than like, that hill down there.
Oh, yeah. It's just like the most ridiculously unnecessary hill that's ever existed. So, but I was motivated to do it, and I'd get up, rain, shine, snow, I didn't care. I just got up and I did it every single day. By the time I was leaving Singapore, I lived 4 minutes from the office, and I was like, can't believe I have to go there. And I didn't want to live like that anymore. So I needed to humble myself. So there was no electricity, there was no running water, there was no anything. Everything had been destroyed. So I slept on the floor for 2 months and showered from a bucket. And not like you have buckets to put over you, which you can do in Asia. You had one bucket because we didn't have enough water. So and you kind of get good at how to shower using one bucket. You just you have to pour a little bit and then collect it, and then shampoo and then collect it. There's a skill to it. I have a blog entry about it on how to shower from a single bucket. Now, one asterisk, you're not fully clean. And we didn't notice that until we went back to Manila afterwards. And me and a couple of the lads were sitting out in Manila, and we're like, what's that smell? It's us. We need to get back to the place and shower now, have a proper shower. So yeah, this humbled me and came me back to, because we worked for 2 months. You wake up 5, 6 a.m., you eat some eggs and some peanut butter for protein, get out to the sites. You're working in 34, 35 degree heat, like sitting on the top of a roof, popping off rivets. And so you have the metal under you and the sun above you, and you're just getting cooked basically. So, and you're just sweating constantly, and you can't drink enough water to rehydrate because there's just so much sweating. So the locals would climb up the coconut trees, grab a coconut, and that's how we rehydrate, because of the electrolytes, and also the dried banana chips with cane sugar across them. Awesome. So that said, okay, humbled myself, now let's rebuild. So I traveled a little bit more and then decided I'll settle in Cambodia. Always liked Cambodia, visited a few times. It always felt like Ireland pre-Celtic Tiger. When there was like community, and there was personalities, and there was all that thing that we seem to have gotten it back now, but we lost.
We're getting there.
Yeah, we lost when we had the Celtic Tiger. To quote Tommy Tiernan, 27 mobile phones, 47 credit cards, and no fucking personalities. So Cambodia just had that charm that our late 80s, early 90s Ireland had. And it was, big farming country, fishing, agrarian and whatever. So I saw similarities, and I was like, Cambodians are awesome people, like super lovely, super sweet, so much vibrancy. So I was like, yeah, I'll stay here for 3 months. And then I went, I'll extend. So it's been 5 years now. It's 5.5 years actually. So when I was there, I started working with different musicians, different artists there. And that all came about because this I get asked this a lot: is how the fuck did you get into where you are? Yeah. So by accident. And I can tell everybody who ever wants to do business here, in Asia, anywhere, network is absolutely everything, and being just open to people.
Yeah.
So when I was backpacking, I got off a bus in Ho Chi Minh, and we had done 12 hours from Nha Trang to Ho Chi Minh, and we did it through the end of a typhoon. So the bus got flooded, and so when they handed me my bag from the baggage, there was literally water like flowing from it. And this is a 60-liter bag filled with clothes and now water, and it weighed a fucking ton. So I was, and it was pissing rain, and I was pissed off. I was like, and so I just grabbed, and I didn't have a hotel booked, so I grabbed the closest cafe that had Wi-Fi, and I sat down, and I was feeling sorry for myself. Fucking this never happened, and all the things that we do when we're traveling. And there was a guy across the way, and he was speaking Tagalog, which is the language in the Philippines, one of the languages, the main one. So I heard him, and I picked up Tagalog from my travels.
Yeah.
And I had Filipino staff in Singapore. So we spoke a little bit, and I practiced my Tagalog. And he had, his boyfriend had just dumped him or something like that. So we got talking, we exchanged Facebooks, and it turns out that he was working in Cambodia. So then, fast forward a year or so later, like, hey, I'm in Cambodia. Do you want to grab dinner?
Coffee or...
Yeah. So it turns out he was the entertainment manager of the casino there. And so we went for dinner and he brought me to the casino and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. Food is amazing. And while we were at it, he said, oh, I'm a fashion designer as well. I was like, oh, that's cool. So he had a shoot the next day or a couple of days later and one of the male models cancelled. So he asked me, he's like, can you do the shoot? Now I had long, like, hair to here and a beard at the time. So
he was like, even when we were growing up, he had like just always mad, like long hair. He was so cool.
I sold out.
We all do.
So I said, yeah, cool, yeah, I'll do it, whatever. And so we did the shoot, and that was the one you've seen on my Facebook with the red jacket and the beard and the long hair,
cool.
and I looked like Game of Thrones. So that got a bit popular in Cambodia. And meanwhile, he was also helping to do the costumes and the clothes for one of the big celebrities in Cambodia, which was Nikki.
Yeah.
And so he asked me to help on a shoot he was doing for his fashion show, and then on a music video for Nikki. So I met her and we got along and had some chats or whatever. And meanwhile, we were friends on Facebook, and she would post things every so often, and I just give her some advice from a music industry perspective. And eventually she said, well, why don't you just be my manager? I was like,
that's how it happens, though.
Yeah, I was like, oh, well, I said, look, I was a heavy metal singer. I know the heavy metal industry in Europe.
I don't really know what's going on.
I've never managed a Cambodian pop star before, but sure, I'll give it a try. In the Irish way, I'll give it a go there now, and sure, if I'm shite, I'm shite.
Yeah, if you can't dazzle them with your brilliance, baffle them with your bullshit.
Exactly, yeah. So we started that, and I mean, it was very important to me that a lot of Western people go into what we call emerging markets, because we don't say third world anymore. We say developing countries or emerging markets.
Okay.
And they go into these places and assume, well, sure, look, my country's so developed, we're so rich, so we know better than you. And anybody who goes into with that mentality is going to fail. Yeah, absolutely.
You have to grow with whatever project you're...
Yeah, they will get chewed up and spit out. And you see it all the time. You see very smart people, very qualified people get absolutely chewed up and spit out. And there are sort of people that won't look at themselves. They blame, well, the country's corrupt, the country's this. The reality is that if you respect people, and you respect people and you do things in the right way, and you're not naive. This is important. You can be nice, just don't be naive. You can do very well. So I knew that I had to learn. You know, I didn't know shit about the Cambodian industry. I needed to listen and learn. So that's what I did. So I was very patient about it. And Nikki was absolutely the luckiest. And Nikki's not the lucky one. I'm the lucky one because Nikki was the first one that I worked with. Very professional. Amazing amazing eye for quality, great creativity. I am super lucky that she was the first one that I worked with, because I've seen other people try and it's just, it completely falls apart. So I was very lucky. Me and her worked, only me and her for the first year.
Okay.
And then the industry started to change and there started to be new music platforms, streaming and everything like that. So we signed license agreements with them. So I had to expand. So I brought on another artist called Sam Rocker.
Okay.
Sam Rocker's awesome. Sam Rocker is like the first tomboy rock artist, or even any artist. The first tomboy in Cambodia who really went public.
Okay. Brilliant.
And faced all of the
stereotypes
and the prejudice and everything like that. And I remember the first time I saw Sam, I was at a show with Nikki. And we were watching these different artists coming up. And when Sam came out first, Sam was dressed like hip hop sort of clothes and whatever. And I thought it was a boy, which I guess is the intention. And so I was like, I was very dismissive, going, oh, another fucking hip hop boy, whatever, just a dime a dozen. And then Sam starts singing, and Sam has the most beautiful feminine voice you'll ever hear. And I was like, whoa. What's happening? And so Nikki was beside me and I was like, who's that? I was like, oh, it's Sam Rocker. I was like, I'm blown away. So went online, checked some of her other songs and everything like that, and went to speak, and I said, let's grab a coffee next week. I want to discuss. So I met with Sam and spoke about different things, and Sam had concerns about signing with somebody because Sam had been offered different deals over the years and promised a lot of things. And it always resulted in the same thing. You need to change your image. You need to grow your hair long. You need to do all of these things. And I went, I don't want any of that. I want you to
exactly the way you are.
That's what grabbed my attention. And I said, I don't want to change anything. I want you to be you, and I'll market that. And we'll turn the volume up or we'll amplify it, but it's you. And I won't ever ask you to change that. And that's my agreement with everybody. I will never ask you to change. I will take who you are, and I will make that a success. And so Sam's onto the third album, just went out last year, and a new single is out the 31st in Cambodia, and it's doing very well. And then over the years we've added more artists along the way, and it's been great. And that's just what it was. It was an accidental meeting in Ho Chi Minh when you're pissed off and wet, and just turn it into something. And this is what I mean is,
that's it, opportunity's there if you grab it. If you just follow the signs that the universe has given you, and if you're being friendly and following your passionate dreams, like the reason I'm back doing music myself is exactly that. Funny instances and circumstances have led me to being able to do interviews again.
Exactly. And it's almost like society tells us we have to do things that way. And I'm, from build, because now I built a business to be quite big. And so you look at different markets and how they work. And the reality is the way society is set up is majority of people actually have to do the ant work, for it to work. And that's why they tend to discourage, creative thinkers, because too many people get creative, the whole system falls apart. But I can say that the successes that I had all along the way, like I was told, go to university. I tried it. I was, the narrative approach to education in Ireland, which I believe has changed now. But back in the day, it was just narrative. And I learned from visual and cognitive.
Yeah.
And so just sitting in a lab, because I did biology and microbiology in university for about 6 months. And I was just like, I can't sit here and do this thing.
It was something that you were passionate about as well.
Loved science, and I still am, and I still, read all that stuff. I was going to save the world, and
same environmental lawyer. That was the plan,
exactly.
And
then I looked at it and went, look, this is not going to work, and because I need to learn a lot more, and I love music and everything like that. I need to be creative. I can't be like this, and so I dropped out and I went to find a job, because obviously with Thoughts of Ruin we flew off to France and I needed to pay for that. So I got a job, applied to a call center, which was Apple, and people were telling me, you're stupid to be dropping out of university to work in a call center. And of course,
you got so far in that call center.
Yeah.
The amount of happenstance interactions you had there as well.
Oh, when because I started working there, and I think my second year there was the start of the recession. And Apple was recession proof because the iPhone was taken off everywhere. So there I was, sitting in a comfortable job. I mean, working my ass off, but I had already moved so I'd moved up the second level of the call center and then into coaching. And so we were doing all these awesome projects and everything like that. And meanwhile, the people who were finishing university, including the ones I started with, were saying, oh, can you help us get a job in the call center? So I looked at that and went, if I'd followed what everybody said, I would have stayed in university, I would have come out the other side, and I would have had nothing.
You would have ended up in a call center anyway.
Chances are. But at entry level, and I got lucky because Apple expanded so quick when iPhone took off. And iPhone took off, but original iPhone didn't take off as much as people think, at least not in this region. iPhone 3G took off. And so we expanded so quick that people like me were pushed up quickly. And I got to, do my first business travel. I got to go all these places. And then when the time came where I'm like, I really want to go and travel, I said to Apple, I'm like, I'm thinking of resigning and just going traveling. They said, look at what options are available for you in Apple worldwide. Found a job in Singapore and applied. So yeah, I mean, I was told not to do that. I did it, and I maximized it.
And you wouldn't have ended up in Asia
otherwise. Exactly. Yeah,
and I wouldn't have realized,
I wouldn't be sitting here.
No, I wouldn't be. Well, I'd still be sitting here.
Yeah. And then I was told you can't leave Apple because Apple is the biggest company in the world, because it was at the time. Actually, maybe still is. To go travel, and I did it anyway. And then do what you want to do. Be smart, obviously, but do what you want to do, and then just be open, be hardworking, like work your ass off. and don't be naive, because there are people out there
who... And be open to change as well. Progress with ideas. Don't just go, this is the way it is. Because the more kind of rigid you are about stuff, the less room there is for growth.
Yeah, you need to be like always flexible.
Like a tree.
Exactly. And also be okay with being wrong.
Oh.
Because people are like, no, I'm not wrong, I'm not right.
I'm right about everything.
In Asia, we say it's saving face, where you don't want to admit you're wrong.
Oh, ego and pride, they take a hit. Like, a lot of people are just arrogant bucks walking around the place.
Absolutely.
Effectively, that's all we are.
Exactly. And it, you know, it's so we can survive, you know. And like when I went to Asia and I saw the saving face thing, and people say Asia is saving face, and I said, okay, I can see it. And then I came back to looking at the West, and I went, it's also in the West, but we don't call it saving face. We just call it other things, you know. And so yeah, so I learned along the way that it was okay to be wrong. It's the best opportunity to learn. So I grew the company, and I kept growing and growing and growing. And then I signed smart strategic agreements. I signed up with India's biggest digital entertainment company, so I have a partnership with them in Southeast Asia for streaming platforms, music and games and movies. And we started to expand into different countries. So just before I came here, I was in Vietnam, because we're working on getting licenses to start everything there. You know, and I get to travel all these places, and it's really cool. And that's what I always wanted, is just to be, you know, travel these places.
Just to be you and travel.
Yeah, and most importantly, to just listen to music and find new artists. And so I get to, like, you know, there's amazing pop stars and DJs in Vietnam. There's amazing rock bands and blues and reggae bands in the Philippines. Awesome metal bands in Indonesia. Thailand has a
Is metal still where the love is for you?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Metal all the way. I might help produce and do rock music and pop music and hip hop, but metal. So, you know, and Indonesia has a great metal scene. Thai has a very distinctive rock sound that's now starting to go international. And then there's K-pop, which is bullshit. K-pop is shit. I don't care what anybody says, it is bullshit. So
it has its moment in time.
It's like a factory. They do fucked up things there. So and then, like, so recently I signed a deal, and I haven't announced it yet, so I can't say it here, but I signed a deal with an international distribution company, and so now I'm out searching the world for these new artists.
Amazing.
So I get to listen to you know, artists from Kenya and artists from, I was sent something from a girl from Mali.
Okay.
Oh, unbelievable. The guitar music coming out of Saharan Africa is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, all the different instruments they even use, like stuff like that.
Oh man. And so you know, when you love music and you just get to travel everywhere listening to music, and you do have to sit in
rock, like, actually. It's a really cool thing. Like.
Yeah. And so so I get to, this is the dream basically, like that. And it was all done by being honest with yourself, accepting your fault, and being open to people and being nice. And the big thing that I always wanted to do is I wanted to do business in an ethical way. And I wanted to get involved in social responsibility. And, like, my big feeling is, like, I'm a foreigner in Cambodia, and I make a good living in Cambodia. So that's me taking money out. Okay, we create the systems, but it's still me benefiting from Cambodia. And I'm a foreigner, and I believe I should give back. And so the agreement always been that we want to support certain things in Cambodia that really need help. So big one that we're doing a lot of campaigns on is gender equality. Cambodia and Asia in general has a lot of work to do on gender equality and women's rights. So and domestic violence, all of those things tied in together. So we work a lot. We just recently finished a big project with a NGO called This Life Cambodia, which is an Australian NGO. This is our second campaign with them, but I was more involved in this one. I helped to direct and cast for this video that we did. In the first one, we wanted to educate women that Chabab Srai, which is women's law, which is an old law in Cambodia, which is basically rules for women, is gone, and you have rights. And so we educated them on that. And then this one was to focus on the men, to be like, real men don't beat up, don't do all of these things. So these campaigns have been great. Between the two of them, it's 2.5 million plays in a country with 7 million internet connections. So it's great. It's huge. And then winning awards. The biggest, I mean, you can put numbers on a board, but you want real, tangible, you know,
things you can
results.
Actually see.
And so we had like 18,000 click-throughs to the actual laws, and that's massive in Cambodia because they tend to watch a video and then switch off. But we were seeing them click through to the government website where they can find their rights. And so we're seeing that. We do a lot of stuff with LGBT rights. So obviously Sam Rocker, Tomboy, so we're a big supporter of that. But it's just the right. So when I first went to Cambodia, I was put as one of the faces of an LGBT rights campaign, a pride campaign, and it was showing like straight people, gay people, transgender, lesbian, tomboy, everything, and it was saying that we're all supporting it. Because I was like, as a straight guy, do I even have a voice in this? And they were like, yes. Everybody's an ally. Everybody can be an ally.
Of course.
So we do LGBT rights, so women's equality, LGBT rights, and the environment, which is a big one, of course. So Cambodia's doing pretty well about environment, getting there. But yeah, so we're doing all these things, and
but it's great that you're giving back. Like effectively, you have to be giving back into the community so that everything keeps going really nicely for everyone. Like even down to shopping local, like smaller, even smaller ideas. Like
so that's how I learned Khmer. Was at the local markets. So I don't speak Khmer fluently, but I speak it pretty good. And so when I first went to Cambodia, I didn't know anything, and I still can't read Khmer because it's Sanskrit. So it squiggles to me. And so I went to the local markets. And so when I first arrived, the foreigners and the other expats would say, go to this supermarket, go to this supermarket. And I was like, why do I want to go there? So I go to the markets, and anyone who's never been to an Asian farmer's market, it's a assault to the sentences. The smells, the heat, the chaos. But I love them. There's so much vibrancy. So I went to these markets, and I was basically like saying, how do I say that in Khmer? How do I say that in Khmer? How do I say that? And I learned from there. So then I was literally supporting local and like buying my mangoes, buying my meat.
To be part of the community and how to converse with them and just being a human, really.
And just respecting, because I really think that, as Western expats, we go to these countries and we take, and then we eventually come back to our country, and what have we positively given back to that country?
How have we impacted them in a...
Yeah, and we've taken, but what do we give back? So I was, love the markets still to this day, and I still go to the markets. The funny thing is when you spend the morning in the market, and then the nighttime maybe at some event with celebrities and all this stuff, and I feel like contrast is important in life, because when you're like every time VIP 5-star blah 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 blah, you take it for granted, and you need that contrast to really appreciate it. So I still get a little bit giddy when I get to like, oh, this is really fancy, and at the same time when I go to the local market and I get to sit down with these awesome people and talk to them and feel like we're speaking as peers, or we're speaking as equals. That gives me more joy than any 5-star bullshit, because 5 stars full of shit. So, and I remember, so for example, if I wake up in the morning and I want to get rice soup, so I'll go to the market, and I have a couple of markets where I like the rice soup, and so one of the things I still don't know how to say is when I want chicken but with no bones. Okay. But they all know now. So I'll come along and I'll say, Chamisur some baba sekmon moi, cafe taktako moi. And then they go, okay. Which is basically, I want rice soup with chicken, and I want iced coffee.
Cool.
And then I'll sit down and I'll have that. So, and it's awesome. And so it's just, it's a different world, So Vietnam, same. My Vietnamese is not good, but I know I had to say banh mi, which is the sandwich.
The sandwich, they're really, really, really like steamed bomb on the outside and deliciousness.
And then the cafe suada, which is iced coffee with sweet milk. So
with condensed milk.
Yeah. Awesome. So that, that's what I've been doing. And we get to the Philippines, we get to Vietnam, Thailand, India. I got to go to Mumbai last year or the year before. That was interesting. Mumbai is awesome. Huge. Ridiculously huge, like 45 kilometers across.
Oh, that is big.
Yeah, no, it's crazy big. And so all these places, and it's just dream come true.
So Asia's working out for you. That's coming through. What are you doing here in May?
May. So when I was back here in September, I'd been talking with the lads from Thoughts of Ruin for a few months, and we were over the years we kind of bantered a little bit back and forth, but nothing concrete, because I was never really committing to coming back.
Of course.
And then finally I was like, okay, I need to go back. I need to see people, you know? And so finally I was really stressed about coming back. So I fly from Bangkok. So I'd already flown to Bangkok. I was sitting there. I was supposed to leave in 2 days and I hadn't booked my flight yet. I was like, what if I go back to Ireland and I hate it? So
that'd never happen.
I was worried.
People like me are here.
Well, yeah, but I was like, when I left Ireland, I was like, cool, I want to go out and see the world. And
if
people,
I saw too much of the world and I don't like it anymore.
Because it's called reverse culture shock. I was really worried about it. I was going, what if I come back to Ireland, I hate it, and then I have existential crisis of where's home.
Jesus.
I was really stressed about it. Like leading up to it, I was a cranky pants leading up to the time going, and so finally I was like, look, I've told everybody I'm coming, booked a flight. 2 days later, I left and got off the plane, and I was going, okay, and then got on the bus, and I was like, in the bus, I was like, everything's so green. Oh my God, look at the sky. The sky's so blue, and that was particularly.
I can smell the air.
Yeah.
Oh, it's raining.
Well, this was the time in September where it was a really.
You were lucky.
It was a sunny time.
Yeah.
I was still fucking freezing, but it was like everything was so bright, and I remember I was on the bus and this lady got chatting with me, and she used to live in Asia, and then we chatted for about 2 hours, and I was like, Irish banter, I remember that. You can talk the head off anybody, because and then she was like, oh, do you think the toilet in the bus and this is a beautiful 2019 bus or 2018, I don't know, and do you think toilet would be okay to use? And I was like, I've been using buses in Asia for the last 9 years.
I'm pretty sure
I'm not the right person to ask. So she went and she came back and she was like, oh, disgusting, oh, horrible. And I went, all right, I'm gonna have to have a look at this. So I went into the toilet and I was like, so nice. Holy shit, this is nicer than some of the fuck is this? It's lovely. So I realized, I was like, okay, there's gonna be some culture shock, but not in a bad way. And so I came to Waterford first, because obviously this is where I'm from. And the biggest thing I noticed is that there's coffee roasters everywhere.
We like our coffee now, yeah. Coffee snobs. Oh, I just fell off. No, there's a few nice places.
No, I'll say this: the coffee is not strong here. And after
compared to Asia.
So Vietnamese coffee is like rocket fuel. It's fantastic. In fact, next time I come back, I'll bring coffee. So here I was trying to drink the coffee, and I was like, oh, it tastes like milk. So I'll get two.
Have you gone to Arch?
It's awesome. I went on this trip.
Okay.
I went on this trip. Arch is good.
Arch is the best.
You got my endorsement, so there you go.
Arch is the best.
I'll hold the coffee cup and be like,
Archie's,
yeah, I'll be your brand ambassador there. So Arch coffee, awesome. Cafe Nero beside it is pretty cool as well. And Blackfriars is also good. So
Blackfriars and Arch are 3FE.
So
that's Dublin Roast.
There you
go. Doesn't really matter, but yeah.
Anyway, there's your plug. You got your sponsor. So I came, saw all the coffee roasters. Waterford feels like a retirement village a little bit, but I was amazed at how nice it was. And Irish blue sky, it might sound stupid, or maybe I'm romanticizing it a little bit, but the sky is bluer in Ireland. Because the thing about Asia is that it's kind of, there's always a haze because of various different things like pollution or whatever. So it's kind of like a white overlay. You go out to the province, you'll get really blue skies, but I remember standing on the quay looking up and seeing this blue sky, and I took a photo of it and I sent it back to Cambodia, and they were like, oh my God, it's so blue, did you already do it on Photoshop? Because you enhance the colors and everything. I was like, no, that's from the camera, like from the phone, like. And so I was really, I was like, I'm really liking this now, and there's lots of places to go. Then I went down to Cork, absolutely loved it. Cork is amazing. I've lived there for a long time. And then finally the time came to go to meet the lads in the band. So we had talked about it. We said, okay, we'll meet up. And Martin, who was the bassist, original, he opted out right from the start, and he said, I'm not playing bass anymore. He's a powerlifter now, and he's fucking huge. But he was like, I'm not interested, but I fully support you. So fair play to him. He set it right from the start. And he got a replacement. And then another member of the band dropped out 4 days before. And I was fucking furious about it, because I was like, I've literally flown halfway around the fucking world. And the point here isn't to bitch about anybody, but it was like, the impression that we got was, because that person, I don't want to say who it is was saying like, okay, you know, if we're gonna do this, you're either 100% in or not, like, you know. And they were the one really driving this whole, and they were right.
Their idea.
Yeah, they were right at that time. But I think they looked at the rest of us and said, the moving parts for them to make this happen isn't likely. Brendan's not going to fucking come back from Cambodia or whatever. And we all did. We all did it. And then it was like, fuck, I have to actually do this. So, you know, they dropped out.
The fear came in.
Yeah. And, you know, life gets in the way. I think no big deal or whatever. But so we met up, we did the practice, and it was fucking awesome. Now, it was hectic on my throat because, you know, years and years and years. It's like getting back to the gym and going hardcore straight away. So that was pretty painful, but it felt good. And then we said, okay, let's talk about it. We'd been offered this show in May, and I refused to agree to it until we did the practice. So the day later, we said, okay, let's do it. So the Iron Mountain Festival, I hope I got that right. Iron Mountain Festival in Leitrim. And I've never been to Leitrim because I assumed Leitrim was one of those places.
I thought it was a black hole.
I thought it didn't exist.
Yeah.
Like Narnia and Middle-earth and Cavan. Like, these are places that don't really, truly exist.
But it turns out it does.
Until May, I don't believe it. So this Iron Mountain Festival, and the guy had always been a supporter of us. And so we said, yeah, look, fuck it, let's do it. So May 1st, we're playing the first day.
Okay, that's amazing.
And we're the second last band.
Any other gigs planned?
There's been some offers.
Okay.
So we haven't.
Talk about that off camera.
Yeah, we can talk about that because I haven't confirmed anything yet because like we haven't decided if we're going to keep doing things, as in more shows.
Yeah. Okay.
So one of the things that I said, you know, we sat down after, we were like, look, this feels good, and we said, should we keep doing this? And so, you know, from being in Asia and running, you know, music at a you know, multiple country level, the whole let's do tours and let's play in front of 4 people and then maybe next time we'll play in front of 6 people, it does not work.
No.
You know, and I know as a heavy metal guy and a Puritan, that's selling, like, that's horrible to say, but it just, you know, you see bands like, you know, saying, oh, you know, we toured England 5 times, and I'm like, yeah, but collectively play in front of 40 people, like, you know, between all the shows. And, you know, you're putting a lot of money and a lot of time, and it's just better ways to spend it.
Of course.
So we made the decision between the bands to say, look, let's make new music. So this is an exclusive. We've hinted at it online. We've already started to make new music.
So cool.
Because we have the studio here to make, you know,
of course, yeah,
track the drums, track the bass, track the guitar. And I have studios in Cambodia. So I said, look, let's record it here. Then send me the tracks out to Cambodia.
And you'll master it back home.
Yeah, so I'll sing over them, do the vocals, send up a few options, and then we're going to get it mixed up in Belfast. And I forget the dude's name, so that's my bad. So that's what we're going to do. We said, look, you know, everything now is social media. You can play.
You can actually do so much. You could be halfway across the world and still make an album with your best friend.
Yes, exactly. And you know,
you can have 2 people sound like 17 instruments.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, this whole thing of you have to tour, you have to do these things, you know, and especially when you're touring on your own, when you're on your own money, you know, it's just the ROI is not there. And you know, people are killing themselves trying to get out, get time off work and everything like that. And no matter, you can say you played 400 shows. You go to a label or you go to a distribution company, and I know this for a fact because I just signed with an international distribution company. They don't give bollocks. They never asked me how many shows the artist did. They never asked me any of those things. They asked for social media numbers. They asked for sales. These are the important
all
things.
they care, yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that's the only thing. I'm saying if you want to get signed to label,
it's a contributing factor. Yeah, it is definitely.
The creativity is obviously there, but it sells the number.
More important.
Yeah.
I suppose you get that maybe from doing gigs. That's maybe if you're lucky enough to be in a place where a scene is thriving.
Well, if you have a good promoter, but fuck, promoters are. I mean, there are great promoters.
Nothing about being a good promoter.
There's great promoters out there, but it's, you know, you don't know when you're going out to the place. And
of course,
we played so many shows where the promoter was, so we you know, we X amount of money is supposed to be paid, and then the promoter goes, oh, well, like, people didn't show up. I'm like, did you fucking promote it? Like,
yeah.
And you don't know, but you know, you have to hold them to that. and then they're only interested about money and stuff like that. It's like, no, we paid hundreds of dollars to get here.
Yeah,
so
you have to figure all that in. You can't, like, there was a while there where like everyone just thought that musicians played for free.
Yeah,
I hate that.
exposure.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Like,
so if
there
anybody
has to be a mix, right? There
Yeah.
has to be a mix between exposure and like large sums of money, but there
Yeah.
has to be an
I mean,
understanding.
like this, the reality is, and you know, when I was in a band here before, I was always like, oh, should I ask for money? You know, I was always, you know, and I don't know if it's a band thing or an Irish thing or whatever. We're a bit sensitive about talking about money. And I went to Asia and I'm like, I'm not doing shit until I get paid. So, and you know, money doesn't motivate people and shouldn't motivate people. Creativity and hard work, all these things should motivate them, but you still have to live. You know, this is the end of the day, you still have to live. So people can promise you the world, but the reality is that, you know, when you think of it, they're putting on a show, they're doing all these things, they're probably making money out of it, or at least their intention mostly is they have to make money because everybody has to live. There's nothing wrong with that, but it has to be fair. And then in regards to asking for money, you know, you try to be smart, check what market rate is, you know, to not, you know, completely hammer a promoter, and just be fair and check market rate and everything like that. So, you know, in Cambodia before, there was no market rate. So we had to kind of establish it. And people were getting paid tiny amounts of money. And now Cambodian artists pay very well. At least, you know, at the upper echelon.
Compared to what?
And it's went up by like 15 times. So,
That's amazing.
yeah. So, and so then when, you know, when I think about Ireland and I think about all this, like, you know, you can take that back. And think about this. If you spent, say, a few €100 to go do your tour in England or wherever the fuck, fair play to you, and I do respect it a lot. But if you took that same money and put it into social media boosting, you'll get a bigger ROI. And that's fucked up, but that's the music industry we live in. Because then, say you boost, because this is one thing I noticed, people don't really boost here. And that's like our bread and butter in Cambodia. So we're taking all the things that basically I learned in Cambodia and Vietnam and so on. In India digital is everything. And applied them now to what we want to do in Thoughts of Ruin, which is keep putting out new music. And you can't shoot music videos because I'm on the other side of the world, although we're not against the idea.
Green screens and, like, you know.
Yeah, when you get into green screens and all of that, it gets expensive. So, but it's there's ways that we can do it. But, you know, we got around, so we shoot really high quality videos in Cambodia. But we also recognize that, you know, to get those constantly is very expensive and time intensive. So we started using lyrics videos because we looked at other parts of the Cambodian market, especially the very Khmer side of the market, and they were just doing lyrics videos, saving themselves thousands of dollars and getting better numbers. So we were like, okay, let's adapt. So we looked at that for Totsarun as well. So we have 4 songs already.
Yay, 4 new songs
that I have to do the vocals on. So I'll do that when I get back to Cambodia. And yeah, so we're going to start releasing them slowly over time and just see how the reaction is and everything like that. And of course, we're back in May. We have had an offer about Waterford.
Okay.
We have had an offer about somewhere else, Cork. And there was another one, some far-flung place. And so initially they were asking us to do shows, like it was like, do you want to do a show next month? As in when they offered. So it was like in December, do you want to have a show next month? And I'm like, you want to pay my can we get expenses on that? Yeah, but I can throw you bus money. I'm like, my travel expenses are a bit higher now. So I just told them, look, I'm not in Ireland, so we're not going to do that. But if you have something in May, we can talk about it. So, you know, here they don't plan that.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't plan that far ahead yet. So we're open to it. We want to give Iron Mountain to exclusive of the first one because they've been supporting us for so long. But yeah, no, we're open to it because I'll be here anyway. And it's a bit of a trek to get back to do it again. And I'd love to do it.
We'll talk.
Yeah. So I'd love to do another show in Waterford. I mean, Waterford's my hometown. And just the pure, like, what's the word? Reminiscing banter of it all.
And I need to be there. Like, it needs to be like, you know.
It needs to be like the Plaza days
together.
And no, I'd love to do it and yeah, it'd be so much fun and hope, you know, because my voice has changed over the years. It's not, because back then it was higher, now it's a little bit more hardcore, so that'll be a little bit of a different change to it. And the new music we're writing is fast.
I can't wait.
It's heavy as fuck. I'll give you a listen off camera.
Okay, that's perfect. I get an exclusive.
But yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. Tulsa Ruin is going to continue. How far it goes, we don't know, because we've all grown up. I have my companies in Asia. The lads have kids and responsibilities and all of that stuff, and so we're realistic about it and fitting a new way of doing music. We'll say metal in Ireland. And see if it works out, and I hope it does work, because obviously it's benefit to us, benefit to the industry here, because so many talented metal bands that could be out there in the world.
This year changes. Did you hear about Sunstroke Festival?
I did. It was unreal, and I can't stay for it. It's in June.
I know, so. And I was like, okay, finally, this is my chance to go back into music promotion, and I'm finally doing it. And all these metal bands are back out there, and I'm falling in love with music all over again, And it's just the perfect time for me.
Sunstroke looks amazing, and I'd already booked my trip back in May. I was like, fuck, could I stay until June? I absolutely can't. But yeah, and the other thing, and this is on the business end of things. So if you look at the music industry right now, pop and hip hop are the biggest selling in the mainstream. But that's the stuff going through Sony, Warner.
Got number one.
Who did?
Slipknot.
Well, that's what I was going to get to. Yeah. The big three, the hip hop and pop are the largest selling, but Slipknot got number one, beat Ed Sheeran to number one, which is phenomenal.
I went to see them last week.
Oh, how were they?
They were good. It was my third time. It was not my favourite.
Yeah,
but I was
heard that.
Fourth row, and I was like, mosh pit. Yeah. I ignored everyone. I went up, I got a lift up, and I was like, I'm really sorry, but I want to have the gig by myself. Is that okay? I took off. I ended up in the pit with an Indian guy I'd never met before, who was just super friendly, who had never been in a pit before. Yeah. And he was like terrified at first, and then I kind of got him into it, and then I disappeared on him. I don't know how he got on.
You make random mosh pit friends.
That's it. It's like a download every year. I have a whole download family of people I just randomly met over the last 10 years.
And that's what it's all about. And the metal community is amazing, And this is why, and this is the point is, like Tool, when Tool released their new album and they went and they released all their stuff on the streaming platforms at the same time, the top 10 was mostly Tool. So obviously the market's still there. But then, so obviously we pull a lot of numbers, and we use metrics a lot from all around the world. And we have quite real-time analysis of all the different sales figures. And rock, and especially metal, is the highest selling music on independent platforms. Okay. So people putting out independent music, metal outsells everything, including hip hop and pop. So it's there, the grassroots is there. And the reality is that metal and rock people are loyal, much more loyal to their bands compared to pop music and not, more so pop music, but also hip hop, where it's it doesn't age well. We're talking the classic pop, like Michael Jackson, Tony Braxton, R&B, all of that stuff ages really well. You listen to 1970s, 1980s, 1990s pop music, it still sounds fresh. You listen to
metal from the
80s ages very well. Rock from the 80s and 90s ages very well. You listen to pop music from 2016, it already sounds stale and ancient and out of date. And it's the way it's designed, It's all built around 128 BPM, A minor tuning, 4/4 timing. And so your brain doesn't have to process it. It's just, that's easy. And that's the way music industry is set up. So rock and metal people will go to shows, they'll support, they'll stay there. I mean, we had people for 10 years saying one more show. And it became an ongoing joke. And when we said, okay, we're going to do another show, they're like, no fucking way.
This is unreal.
And it was a small amount of people, but it meant the world to us, it was just like to see people, 10 years on going, we want one more show. We put up the music on Spotify last year, and we saw people listening, and we saw the numbers, and we were like,
okay, people are still
there's more to this than we thought, and that's where it all came about. So yeah, I mean, metal people are the best. That's a fact. Yeah. And metal people and rock people, and hopefully May 1st will not be shit.
It's not going to be shit, and I'm really excited to hear the four next songs.
Yeah.
We have been filming for almost an hour now, Brendan.
So I planned 15 to 20 minutes, but I talked too much.
But this has been a really interesting interview. Hopefully people are still listening. If not, they missed out on a exclusive or two.
Yeah.
And really important facts about life.
Don't be so instant gratification. Yeah. Wait for the money shot.
Yeah. So, dudes, thanks so much. Viking Promotions exclusive. Me and Brendan are going to go catch up because it has been 11 years.
There is tea and there's jellies.
Jellies. A dog, a cat.
And vanilla whips.
Vanilla whips.
And Milky Way crispy rolls.
Rock 'em dead, dudes.
Fuck yeah.